The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with fear. Thousands of aliens sat in their seats, but nobody spoke. The silence was heavy and scary. Red emergency lights blinked on and off across the walls. Commander Jaewon Kim sat with the human group. He watched the aliens around him. Some had 6 arms, others looked like giant bugs. A few were made of crystal that sparkled in the dim light. All of them looked terrified. "We are dying," said High Counselor Veltar. She was tall and thin, with big compound eyes like a fly. Her voice shook as she spoke. "The Vrex are killing us all." Ambassador So-Min Park leaned forward in her chair. She had been part of the Galactic Council for 10 years. She had never seen the aliens this scared before. 17 worlds are gone, Veltar continued. 17 entire races. The Vrex ships came from space and burned everything. No warnings. No mercy. Just death. An alien that looked like a walking tree raised one of its branch arms. The Verdani homeworld had 12 billion people, it said in a voice like wind through leaves. Now, there is nothing. The Vrex turned. "Our forests into ash, our children are all dead." Another alien stood up. This one was blue and had tentacles instead of arms. "The Vrex came to our water world 3 days ago. They poisoned our oceans. My people cannot breathe now. We are the last 50 survivors." Jaewon Kim wrote notes on his tablet. He had heard stories about the Vrex Empire, but this was worse than anyone thought. The Vrex were reptile-like aliens who loved war. They had big ships and powerful weapons. Most importantly, they did not care about peace. Dr. Hyojin Choi sat next to Kim. She was a scientist who studied alien cultures. "The Vrex are different from us," she whispered to him. "They see other species as food or slaves. Nothing more." The meeting continued for hours. One by one, aliens told their stories. The Chardni had lost their crystal homeworld. The Vrex had mined it for rare metals. The Kitharans had seen their hive cities burned from space. The Gentle Ones had watched their peaceful floating cities sink into the ocean. "We tried to fight," said a warrior alien with 4 arms and spikes on his back. "My people are strong. We have fought wars for 1,000 years. But the Vrex, they are different. Their ships are too big. Their weapons are too strong. They destroyed our fleet in 1 hour." Ambassador Park felt sick. She had seen wars before, but this was not war. This was extermination. The Vrex were not trying to conquer these worlds. They were trying to wipe out entire species. "How many ships do they have?" asked Kim. "Too many," replied Veltar. "Our scouts report at least 10,000 warships. Each one is bigger than our largest vessel. Their weapons can destroy a planet from orbit." The hall fell silent again. Everyone knew the truth. The Galactic Council had been formed to keep peace between species. But the Council had no real army. They had small patrol ships and a few hundred peacekeepers. Against the Vrex Empire, they were helpless. "What about the other strong species?" asked Park. "The Altarians? The Zephyrians?" "Already dead," said Veltar. "The Vrex attacked them first. They wanted to remove any real threat before starting. The genocide." Dr. Choi looked at her notes. "The Vrex have been planning this for years. They studied every species in the galaxy. They know our weaknesses. They know our technology. They know how we fight. But they do not know about humans," said a small voice from the back of the hall. Everyone turned to look. A tiny alien, no bigger than a human child, stood on its seat. It had big eyes and looked like a small bear. "The humans are new," the small alien said. "They joined the Council only 50 years ago. Maybe the Vrex do not know about them." Veltar's compound eyes turned to look at the human group. "That is why we called this meeting. We need help. The Galactic Council formally asks Earth for military assistance." Kim felt the weight of thousands of eyes on him. Every alien in the hall was staring at the human delegation. He could feel their hope and desperation. "Tell us about your military," said Veltar. "How many ships do you have?" "I cannot give exact numbers," replied Kim. "But our fleet is smaller than yours." Many aliens made sad sounds. Some began to cry. Others put their heads in their hands. However, Kim continued, humans are different from other species. We come from what you call a death world. Earth is a dangerous place. We had to become strong to survive. But you are so young, said Veltar. Your species has only had space travel for 200 years. How can you fight an enemy that has existed for thousands of years? Park stood up. Commander Kim is right. Humans are different. We have fought wars on Earth for all of our history. We know how to fight when we are outnumbered. We know how to fight when the enemy is stronger. Will you help us? Asked the small, bear-like alien. Kim looked around the hall. He saw fear in every face, but he also saw hope. These aliens believed that somehow humans could save them. I must speak with our military leaders, Kim said. Fleet Admiral Tae-ho Lee commands our Space Forces. He will decide what we can do. How long will that take? Asked Veltar. Give us 3 days, replied Kim. We will have an answer. The hall erupted in excited chatter. Some aliens looked happy for the first time in months. Others still looked scared. Everyone knew that 3 days might be too long. The Vrex fleet was moving closer to the Council worlds every day. As the meeting ended, Veltar approached the human group. Commander Kim, I must tell you something. The Vrex are not just killing us. They are enjoying it. They broadcast our deaths across the galaxy. They want other species to see what happens to those who resist. Kim nodded. I understand. Do you really think your people can help us? Asked Veltar. Kim looked at the tall alien. Her compound eyes reflected the emergency lights. She looked like she had not slept in weeks. High Counselor, humans have a saying, never corner a pack animal. The Vrex have cornered all of us. Now they will learn what happens when you threaten a human's pack. Veltar did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. For the first time in months, she felt something other than fear. She felt hope. Fleet Admiral Tae-ho Lee stood on the bridge of the HNS Retribution. Through the big windows, he could see Earth spinning slowly in space. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from here. But Lee knew the truth. Earth was the most dangerous world in the galaxy. Admiral, we have a message from the Galactic Council, said Captain Yoon-ji Song. She walked up to him with a tablet in her hands. Commander Kim needs your answer. Lee read the message twice. The Vrex Empire was killing entire alien species. Thousands of worlds were burning. The Council was begging for help. How many ships do the Vrex have? Asked Lee. Intelligence reports. 10,000 warships, sir, replied Colonel Dong-wook Han. He was the leader of the Human Marine Corps. Each ship is 3 times bigger than our largest vessel. Lee smiled. It was not a happy smile. And how many ships do we have? The entire human defense fleet has 800 ships, said Captain Song. So we are outnumbered 12-1, said Lee. Good odds for humans. The other officers looked confused. Good odds? How was being outnumbered 12-1 good odds? Chief, Engineer Bam Yi Kang entered the bridge. She was small and quiet, but she was the smartest person on the ship. Admiral, I have the technical report on Vrex technology. Tell me, said Lee. Their ships are big and powerful, said Kang. They have energy shields that can stop most weapons. Their guns can destroy a planet from space, but they have weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? They build their ships for show, not for fighting, explained Kang. The ships are beautiful but not practical. Their shields only work against energy weapons. Their computers control everything, so if you damage the computer, the whole ship stops working. Lee nodded. What about their tactics? Colonel Han stepped forward. The Vrex fight like bullies, sir. They use big ships to scare enemies into surrendering. They have never fought anyone who fought back hard. Most species give up when they see the Vrex fleet. But humans do not give up, said Lee. Never, sir, replied Han. Lee walked to the tactical display. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Vrex-controlled systems. There were hundreds of them. Yellow dots showed systems under attack. Green dots showed safe systems. There were very few green dots left. Lieutenant Hyunwoo Jang ran onto the bridge. He was young and led one of the fighter squadrons. "Admiral, we have new intelligence from our scouts." "Report," said Lee. "The Vrek's supreme commander is called Gulvor," said Jung. "He commands the invasion from a massive ship called the Bloodfang. Our spies say he thinks this war will be over in 2 weeks." 2 weeks? Asked Captain Song. "He expects all remaining species to surrender when they see what happened to the others," explained Jung. "The Vreks broadcast the destruction of each world across the galaxy. They want everyone to be scared." Lee walked back to the window. Earth looked so small and fragile. But he knew better. Earth was a world where only the strongest survived. Humans had fought ice ages, volcanic winters, plagues, and wars. Every human was descended from survivors. "Chief Kang, are our special weapons ready?" asked Lee. "Yes, sir," replied Kang. "The kinetic cannons are loaded. The armor-piercing missiles are armed. The electronic warfare systems are online." Captain Song looked worried. "Admiral, our weapons are primitive compared to theirs. They have energy beams and plasma cannons. We have bullets and explosives." "That is exactly why we will win," said Lee. "Their shields stop energy weapons, but they cannot stop a chunk of metal moving at half the speed of light." Colonel Han smiled. He understood. "Their computers control their ships, but if we fry their electronics, their beautiful ships become floating rocks." "Exactly," said Lee. "The Vreks think like most galactic species. They believe newer technology is always better. They have forgotten that simple things work when complex things break." An alarm started ringing. Lieutenant Jang checked his tablet. "Admiral, we are receiving a priority message from the outer system. Vrek scout ships have been spotted near Jupiter." Everyone on the bridge became very quiet. The Vreks had found Earth. "How many ships?" asked Lee. "Just 3 scout ships, sir," replied Jang. "They are scanning our system and sending reports back to their fleet." "Are they in weapons range?" asked Colonel Han. "No, sir. They are staying far away. They seem to be studying us." Lee thought for a moment. The Vrek scouts would report that humans had a small fleet and primitive technology. They would tell their commanders that Earth would be easy to conquer. "Let them watch," said Lee. "Let them think we are weak." "Sir?" asked Captain Song. "The Vreks have been winning because they know everything about their enemies," explained Lee. "But they know nothing about humans. We are going to keep it that way." Chief Kang understood. "We let them see our older ships. We hide our real weapons. We make them think we are not dangerous." "But what about the Council?" asked Lieutenant Jung. "They need our answer in 1 day." Lee walked to his command chair. He sat down and looked at his officers. These people were the best Earth had to offer. They were smart, brave, and loyal. More importantly, they were human. "Send a message to Commander Kim," said Lee. "Tell him the Human Defense Fleet will help the Galactic Council." "What are our orders, sir?" asked Captain Song. "We are not going to fight like the Council expects," said Lee. "We are not going to join their fleets and make battle lines. We are going to fight like humans." "Guerrilla warfare?" asked Colonel Han. "Exactly. We will hit them where they do not expect it. We will attack their supply lines. We will target their communications. We will make them afraid." Chief Kang pulled up technical diagrams on the main screen. "I have identified weak points in their ship designs. If we hit these spots with kinetic weapons, their ships will break apart." "Perfect," said Lee. "How long until the fleet is ready to leave?" 12 hours, sir," replied Captain Song. "Make it 6 hours," ordered Lee. "The longer we wait, the more aliens die." As the officers left to prepare their ships, Lee stayed on the bridge. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vreks were killing innocent people. They thought they were the strongest species in the galaxy. They were about to learn they were wrong. The door opened, and Dr. Mi-young-seo entered. She was the fleet's navigator and knew more about space travel than anyone else. "Admiral, I have found something interesting," she said. "What is it?" "The Vrek's fleet movements follow a pattern. They always attack the strongest worlds first, then move to the weaker ones. They want to remove any real threats before finishing the genocide." Where will they strike next? Asked Lee. Based on their pattern, they will attack the Harmony Collective in the Kepler 442 system. It is a water world with 3 billion aquatic aliens. The attack will happen in 4 days. Lee smiled again. This time it was not a nice smile at all. Then that is where we will meet them, he said. Sir, they will have hundreds of ships. We will only have our small fleet. Dr. Seo, the Vrex have never fought humans before. They do not know that humans are persistence hunters. They do not know that we never give up. They do not know that we fight hardest when we are outnumbered. What? Should I tell the navigator crews? Tell them to plot a course for Kepler 442. Tell them we are going hunting. 6 hours later, the human defense fleet left Earth orbit. 800 ships moved through space like a pack of wolves. They were smaller than Vrex ships. Their weapons looked primitive. Their armor was simple metal plates, but they carried something the Vrex had never faced before. They carried the fury of a death world. The Kepler 442 system was burning when the human fleet arrived. Vrex warships surrounded the water world of the Harmony Collective. Giant black ships fired red beams down at the planet. The beautiful floating cities of the aquatic aliens were exploding one by one. How many Vrex ships? Asked Admiral Tae-Ho Lee from the bridge of the Retribution. 800 warships, sir, reported Lieutenant Hyun-Woo Jang. They are in standard attack formation around the planet. Captain Yoon-ji Song looked at the tactical display. The Vrex ships were huge. Each one was 3 times bigger than any human vessel. Admiral, they outnumber us exactly 1 to 1, but their ships are much larger. Perfect, said Lee. They think size matters. Let us show them they are wrong. On the planet below, the last survivors of the Harmony Collective sent desperate messages into space. Please help us, their voices cried through the radio. Our children are dying. Our cities are sinking. Please, someone help us. Colonel Dong Wook Han checked his Marine units. All assault teams ready, Admiral. We are prepared to board enemy ships. Good, replied Lee. Chief Kang, are our special weapons online? Chief Engineer Bom Yi Kang nodded. Kinetic cannons loaded, sir. Armor-piercing missiles armed. Electronic warfare systems ready to scramble their computers. The Vrex had not noticed the human fleet yet. The human ships were small and stayed hidden behind asteroids. Their stealth technology made them almost invisible to enemy sensors. Supreme Commander Gulvor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Bloodfang. He was 8 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes. He watched the planet burn with satisfaction. How much longer until the aquatic species is extinct? He asked his officers. 2 hours, Supreme Commander, replied his aide. Then we can move to the next world. Gulvor smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Excellent. This genocide is proceeding faster than planned. Soon the galaxy will be empty except for the Vrex. That was when Admiral Lee gave the order. All ships, attack pattern Alpha, target their supply vessels first. No warnings, no mercy. The human fleet struck like lightning. Small, fast ships appeared from behind asteroids and moons. They fired kinetic weapons, metal slugs moving at incredible speed. The first Vrex supply ship exploded before it knew. It was under attack. What was that? Shouted Gulvor as alarms rang throughout his ship. Unknown vessels attacking our rear guard, sir, reported his sensor officer. The supply convoy is gone. Impossible, said Gulvor. Our sensors show nothing, but the attacks continued. Human ships hit Vrex communication vessels with electronic warfare. The enemy fleet suddenly could not talk to each other. Then human fighters struck the fuel ships. Without fuel, the giant Vrex warships became floating targets. Captain Song commanded the HNS Indomitable as it raced toward a Vrex battleship. Fire kinetic cannon, she ordered. The metal slug punched through the Virex energy shield like it was paper. The shield was designed to stop energy beams, not solid objects. The slug tore through the alien ship's hull and exploded inside. Their shields are useless against our weapons, Song reported to the fleet. Lieutenant Jang led his fighter squadron against Vrex patrol ships. The human fighters were small and fast. They dodged the alien energy beams and fired armor-piercing missiles. Each missile found weak spots in the enemy ships that Chief Kang had identified. Vrek's fleet commander Zefkol tried to organize his forces, but without communication, his ships could not coordinate. They were used to fighting enemies that stayed far away and fired energy weapons. The humans got close and used weapons that actually worked. "Supreme Commander," he called to Gulvor, "these enemies fight differently. They are not afraid of us." "All species fear the Vreks," replied Gulvor. "Destroy them." But the Vreks could not destroy what they could not catch. Human ships moved, like pack hunters. They surrounded larger Vreks vessels and attacked from all sides. When the enemy tried to focus on one human ship, the others would strike from behind. Colonel Han's Marines prepared for boarding operations. "Remember," he told his troops, "these reptiles have been bullying peaceful species. They have never fought real soldiers." The first boarding pods launched from human ships. They punched through Vreks hulls and deposited Marine teams inside enemy vessels. The Vreks warriors inside were 8 feet tall and had claws and fangs. They looked terrifying. But the human Marines were not afraid. They wore combat armor and carried weapons designed for close fighting. More importantly, they were humans. Earth had taught them that the scariest-looking predator could still be beaten. Major Sujin Lim led her team through a Vrek ship. The alien corridors were dark and filled with the smell of reptiles. Vrek's warriors tried to ambush them, but the humans moved like they were born for this kind of fighting. "Contact front," called one Marine as Vrek's soldiers charged them. The aliens were bigger and stronger, but humans were faster and smarter. They used teamwork and tactics that the Vreks had never seen before. Within minutes, the human Marines controlled the ship. On the Bloodfang, Supreme Commander Gulvor watched his fleet fall apart. Hundreds of ships were damaged or destroyed. His mighty invasion force was being torn apart by a smaller enemy using primitive weapons. "What are these creatures?" he asked his aide. "Intelligence reports they are called humans, sir. They come from a world called Earth." "Earth?" Gulvor had never heard of it. "It is classified as a death world, sir. A planet where only the strongest life forms survive." For the first time in his life, Gulvor felt fear. Death worlds were rare. The few species that came from such planets were known to be extremely dangerous. The battle turned when Commodore In Ho Yoon led a strike force directly at the Bloodfang. The human ships ignored the smaller Vreks vessels and went straight for the enemy flagship. "All ships focus fire on the command vessel," ordered Admiral Lee. "Cut off the head and the body dies." Dozens of kinetic weapons hit the Bloodfang. The massive ship's shields failed as metal slugs punched through them. Explosions ran along the ship's hull. The beautiful Vreks flagship began to break apart. Gulvor felt his ship shaking around him. "Damage report." "Main power failing, sir. Weapon systems offline. Life support failing. Human boarding pods struck." The Bloodfang. Colonel Han himself led the assault on the bridge. His Marines moved through the ship like shadows, taking out Vreks defenders with efficient precision. When they reached the bridge, Gulvor was waiting with his personal guards. The Supreme Commander was massive, covered in scales and scars. I had ruled the Vreks Empire for 50 years and never lost a battle. "I am Gulvor," he announced. "I have conquered 1,000 worlds. You cannot defeat me." Colonel Han removed his helmet. He was smaller than the alien commander, but his eyes were cold and hard. "I am human," he said. "We have survived ice ages, plagues, and wars. We never surrender." The fight was brief. Gulvor was strong and fierce, but he had never fought a human before. Han moved with the speed and skill of a species that had fought for survival for millions of years. When it was over, the Supreme Commander lay defeated on his own bridge. "All Vrek ships, this is your Supreme Commander," Han said into the communication system, using Gulvor's voice translator. "I order you to surrender immediately." Across the system, the remaining Vrek ships stopped fighting. Their command structure had collapsed. Without Gulvor's orders, they did not know what to do. Admiral Lee opened communication channels to all ships. "This is Admiral Tae Ho Lee of the Human Defense Fleet. Vreks vessels, You are ordered to withdraw from the system immediately. Any ship that remains will be destroyed. The Vrex fleet began to retreat. 800 massive warships turned and fled from 800 smaller human vessels. The bullies had finally met someone who hit back harder. On the planet below, the surviving Harmony Collective watched human ships patrol their skies. The burning had stopped. Their children were safe. High Counselor Veltar arrived 3 days later with a council rescue fleet. She found human ships escorting refugee transports to safety and helping rebuild the floating cities. "Commander Kim," she said when she met him on the planet's surface, "how did you know you could win?" Kim looked up at the human ships in the sky. They were small and simple compared to the beautiful Vrex vessels, but they had proven more powerful. "We did not know we could win," he replied. "We just knew we could not let them lose." "What happens now?" asked Veltar. "Now the galaxy learns that Deathworlders do not just survive," said Kim. "We make sure others survive too." The Vrex Empire crumbled within a month. Without their supreme commander and with their fleet broken, the remaining Vrex worlds surrendered, one by one. The genocide was over. Humans had saved the galaxy not through superior technology or numbers, but through the simple refusal to give up. The Death World had answered the call, and the galaxy would never be the same.